Hey guys, it's Lotus and welcome back to another video. Today, as part of Spooky Month, we will be continuing with some more No Sleep Reddit story review posts. I really enjoyed the first one, and I love reading scary stories, so I thought it'd be fun to do a part 2. So, in this edition, I've actually found a whole bunch, 3 stories, all related to girlfriends, so that'll be interesting to see if they are similar or different in any way. Because relationships are scary, right? So let's see. Let's check out these girlfriend related Reddit review posts. No sleep Reddit posts. Okay. So number 1, how do I get my girlfriend to knock off this annoying habit? So I've been dating my girlfriend for almost a year, and last month we moved in together. Maybe it's kind of fast, I don't know. My parents sure thought it was, but honestly, everything was great in the beginning. We get along really well, and we've never had more than a brief argument. But then, she started whistling. It's so dumb, I know, but she's always whistling this weird song, and it really gets on my nerves. My mom kept telling me that once you move in with someone, you discover all of the quirks they'd been hiding from you, and it's not like I didn't expect that to be true. But for some reason, this is just an ongoing issue with us, and I don't know what to do. At first, I would just hear her whistling it when she was showering. It was kind of cute, like her own little bathroom theme song. I didn't recognize the melody, but it was very distinct. I could mimic it from memory if I wanted to. In fact, sometimes it gets stuck in my head, and it drives me a little crazy. You know the type. After a week or so, I asked her what the song was, and she just laughed. I'm wondering if maybe she came up with it on her own, something that she does absently, especially once she started doing it more. Like, I'd be reading a book, and she'd be on the computer, and she'd just start whistling. And I tried to ignore it. I seriously feel like a dick for being so grumpy about it, and I know she wasn't doing it to annoy me, but she'd just go on, and it would pull my attention away from whatever I was doing. So, I finally said something a few nights ago. I was going over some legal documents for work, and she just starts whistling like crazy, on, and I'm trying to just block it out, but it's seriously excessive. Like, I know you guys are probably thinking that I was overreacting, but it felt like she was whistling right into my ear, and it just frayed my last bit of patience. As calmly and as nicely as I could, I called out to her and asked her to quiet down. She didn't reply. I asked her again, and she still didn't answer, so I left the bedroom and found her in the living room, watching a movie. She wasn't whistling anymore, and for some reason, that really irked me. It felt like she was messing with me, and she just looked over at me like she didn't know what my deal was. I asked her if she could stop whistling so much, and she told me she wasn't whistling. Now, I get that maybe she doesn't realize she's doing it, but no one whistles that much and doesn't notice. It's not really like her to mess with me like that, and I don't know what she's trying to get out of this. I thought maybe she was teasing or playing a joke, but she had to see how annoyed I was. I asked her again to just not whistle so loudly, and she didn't answer. There was tension in the room, and it felt like our first fight since moving in together. Even though she didn't whistle for the rest of the night, I couldn't focus on my work anyway because I was upset about the confrontation. Then, of course, the next night, she was whistling again. I hear her when she comes home from work, and she keeps going for at least an hour. I didn't want to have another fight, so I just hung out in the bedroom and listened to her move around for a while. I felt like I was blowing things out of proportion, but honestly, how hard is it to just not whistle all the time? It was no big deal when it was now and then, but I feel like she whistles more than she even talks to me now. So I'm sitting up in the room, thinking about that, and that's probably why I was worked up when I finally came down. She was cooking dinner, which is sweet, but she was still whistling. So I said, softly, Hey honey, maybe we should put on some nice music instead, so you don't have to fill the silence with whistling. I tried to play it off like a joke, but I knew she'd probably see through it and get annoyed again. She didn't even turn to face me, just huffed and kept cooking. After a minute, I told her I was sorry about the other night, but the whistling just sort of strikes my ear wrong, and if she could just try not to whistle so much and so loudly, it would make my life a lot easier. I feel like I was being fair. I know it seems controlling and nitpicky, but it was bothering me a lot. We all have our things, you know? I try not to chew loudly at the table because it bothers her, so why can't she just stop whistling sometimes for me? But she totally freaked out. She turned around and told me she wasn't whistling and she didn't know what my problem was. At this point, I don't get why she was doing this. It obviously wasn't funny for either of us, and she seemed genuinely upset, so I don't know why she kept provoking me. I asked her what her deal was, why she was so defensive about the stupid whistling, and she told me to shut up. She told me she was sick of talking about it, like I was the one being unreasonable. I never get mad at her, but I just snapped. I told her to stop whistling before I lost my mind. She called me crazy, just because I was getting a little upset, and somehow that was all I could take. I grabbed one of the cast iron pans from the stove and swung it at her as hard as I could. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. You can't resort to violence because you're frustrated. She fell over and smashed her head on the counter, but I swung the pan again before she hit the ground. I think I hit her maybe 3 or 4 times. I don't remember, but I feel horrible. There was blood everywhere, and her jaw might be broken. No, I think it is for sure. I couldn't believe I'd lost my temper like that, and I have no idea how we can move past this. Is she still alive? I feel so ashamed for letting things get physical, regardless of how much she might be provoking me. She better leave his ass right now. This is not okay. But here's the kicker. She's still effing whistling, and I asked her nicely to please stop, but now she won't even pause. For 2 days, she's just been lying on the kitchen floor with her eyes rolled back and her mouth hanging open, just marinating in congealed blood, and she's still effing whistling. I don't know what to do. I don't want to break up, but this is just too much. I just need her to shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. Okay. OP is, I know OP feels like he's going crazy, but he should definitely not have resorted to violence. He should have sat down and they should have had a civil conversation like adults. I'm pretty sure this is fake. But even if it was, that doesn't excuse because you're going crazy to hit someone, especially hurt your girlfriend. To hurt your girlfriend like that because you're frustrated with her, like, you know, you have some anger management issues and some anger management problems. You don't just get physical with someone because you're frustrated or mad at them. And obviously, the way after you hit her multiple times, right? You just leave her on the floor like that. It's not like you helped her, you took her to the hospital. You didn't take her to the hospital. You didn't call 911. You didn't even try to patch her up yourself. You just left her in her own blood on the floor. You know, if it was really bothering you, you could have, like, again, you could have just moved out. You could have broken up with her. Your parents already didn't want you to move in with her. And if you felt like it wasn't going to work out, you could have just, I don't know, you could have gotten, like, noise-canceling earbuds. They have those for when people snore. Again, you could have talked to her, or you could have just moved out, moved in with your parents or something until you guys figure out how to break up and then, you know, move your separate ways and who gets the house and everything. But damn, this guy. I mean, I understand that, you know, sometimes noises can be irritating, but you don't get all domestic violence on someone when you're mad. Let me see what people have to say about this. I got really heated there for a sec. Okay. Had a cat that hated whistling. She stopped us by running up and biting the end of our noses. You should have just bit her nose. OP needs your cat. My cat used to back up like a reversing truck on my foot and bite my toes when I whistled. We have a cat that does this when we play videos on our phones. Today's episode of Mental Images I Never Knew I Didn't Want. Marinating in congealed blood. Fun fact, a corpse starts to slowly bloat after about 4 hours, and the skin starts to turn bluish purple due to lack of circulation and gravity pulling on all the blood. So OP's wife is probably a swollen, discolored, limp mess marinating in congealed blood. Ew, oh my gosh. Auditory hallucinations? Titness, actually. I had a mild form of it myself. It comes and goes, but it's effing annoying when it comes. Yeah, I heard that there is a condition called titness, where it's like a ringing in your ear that's really consistent, and it's like really grating, and you can't turn it off. Maybe that's something that he has. Maybe it wasn't her, and it was him, you know? Wait until she starts leaving her stuff all over the place, and leaving the lights on in every room she leaves. And her hair, it will be in places she has never been. It's coming to, it's coming, brace yourself. Okay. So, no one has anything to say about, him beating his girlfriend to death, apparently. And it's just talking about, oh yeah, noises can be annoying, I see. The horror in this was him losing his temper and then not getting her help after. That's more of the horror than the actual whistling, I would think. I think he should have just gone to the ear doctor to get it checked. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one. This one sounds creepy from the headline already. My dead girlfriend keeps messaging me on Facebook. I've got the screenshots. I don't know what to do. Tonight's kind of a catalyst for this post. I just received another message, and it's worse than any of the others. My girlfriend died on the 7th of August, 2012. She was involved in a 3-car collision driving home from work when someone ran a red light. She passed away within minutes on the scene. We had been dating for 5 years at this point. She wasn't big on the idea of marriage. It felt archaic, she said. It gave her a weird vibe. But if she had been, I would have married her within 3 months of our relationship. She was vibrant, the kind of girl that would choose dare every time. She was happiest when camping, but a total technophile too. She always smelled like cinnamon. That being said, she wasn't perfect. She always said something along the lines of, if I cark it first, don't just say good things about me. I've never liked that. If you don't pay me out, you're doing me a disservice. If you don't, I've got so many flaws, and that's just part of me. So, this is for M. The music she said she liked and the music she actually liked were very different. Her idea of affection was a side hug. She had really long toes like a chimpanzee. Wow, this is really mean. What the heck? Okay. So he's just talking about all the things that really annoyed him about her? Damn. I know that's tangential, but I don't feel right discussing her without you having an idea of what she was like. Okay. On to the meat. M had been dead for approaching 13 months when she first messaged me. Okay. September 4th, 2013. This is when it began. I had left Emily's Facebook account activated so I could send her the occasional message, post on her wall, go through her albums. It felt too final and too un-Emily to memorialize it. Oh, 1 second. I have the music on too loud on my end. Let me just quickly fix that because it's really loud for me. Okay. Sorry about that. You probably don't notice it, but on my end I had it really loud. Okay. I'll start from the beginning, sorry. September 4th, 2013. This is when it began. I had left Emily's Facebook account activated so I could send her the occasional message, post on her wall, go through her albums. It felt too final and too un-Emily to memorialize it. I share access with her mother, Susan, meaning her mother has her login and password and has spent a total of approximately 3 minutes on the website, or on a computer in total. After a little confusion, I assumed it was her. November 16th, 2013. I had received confirmation from Susan that she hadn't logged in to M's Facebook since the week of her death. M knew a lot of people, so I instantly assumed this was one of her more tech-savvy friends effing with me in the worst possible way. I noticed pretty much immediately that whoever was chatting with me was recycling old messages from M and my shared chat history. The wheels on the bus comment was from when we were discussing songs to play on a road trip that never eventuated. Hello happened a million times. Wait, is there a link to the post? Oh, here we go. Okay. So the September 4th, 2013 post. Emily. Can you see this? Sorry, let me make this big. Okay. Emily. Etc. But you're not a plaque on a wall. This gives me more closure, even. F, we're nerds. I'm still finding your hair ties everywhere, and your bobby pins. I'm actually fairly sure they're breeding. Some of them still have hair on them. And then Emily wrote to him saying, hello. And then Nathan, also Nathan is the OP. Who is this? It's really weird receiving messages from Emily's account. Hello? Okay, well, in the future, please send me messages from your own account, even if you want to discuss her page. Hello. Susan, you're on Emily's account? Okay. Okay.
Dinner.
So that was September 4th, 2013. Now November 16th, 2013. When after Susan let Nathan OP know that she had not logged in to Emily's account. It's really weird. Okay, so Susan, you're on Emily's account. So November 16th, 2013. She posts again. Hello, let's hit up blank trail this Sunday. Who the F is this? The wheels on the bus. Please tell me who you are. Okay. Around February 2014, Emily started tagging herself in my photos. I would get notifications for them, but the tag would generally always be removed by the time I got to it. The first time I actually caught one, it felt like someone had punched me in the gut. She would tag herself in spaces where it was plausible for her to be, or where she would usually hang out. I've got screenshots of 2 from April and June. These are the only ones I've caught, so they're a little out of the timeline I'm trying to write out. Okay, here's one. Okay, so OP posted a selfie of himself, and Emily supposedly tagged herself in the back over here, where there is no one. What is this? What is this? What is this? This is like a face, 2 eyes and a mouth? What is that? What is this a reflection of? And then another picture of OP sitting here with a drink. And he's laying on the couch. And she tagged the spot right next to him, again where there is empty space. Around this period of time, I stopped being able to sleep. I was too angry to sleep. She would tag herself in random photos every couple of weeks. The friends who noticed and said something thought it was an effed up bug. I found out recently that there have been friends who have noticed and didn't say anything. Some of them have removed me from their Facebook friends list. Oh. At this point, some of you may be wondering why I didn't just kill my Facebook profile. I wish I had. I did for a little while. On days when I can't get out there, though, it's nice having my friends available to chat. It's nice visiting M's page when the little green circle isn't next to her name. I was already socially reclusive when M was alive. Her death turned me into something pretty close to a hermit, and Facebook and MMOs were, and are, my only real social outlets. On March 15th, I sent what I assumed was M's hacker a message. Why are you doing this? Why do you keep tagging her? On March 25th, I received an answer. March 25th. Hello? 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 This is actually devastating. I don't know why do you enjoy doing this? Oh my gosh, cinnamon scented candles. Go to hell. Why are you doing this? This is so freaky. I know it's probably just a hacker, but still, the thought of someone dead, trying to communicate with you via social media. Social media is already a haunted place, to be honest. Okay. It wasn't until I was going over these logs a few months later that I noticed she was recycling my own words as well. It could also be like a hacker bot, it sounds like. If it's recycling words, it seems like a bot that's just taking, like an AI or something that's taking text and just regurgitating it. My response seems kind of lackluster here. I was intentionally providing him or her with emotional bait. This is actually devastating, to keep them interested in their game. I was working off the assumption that the kind of person to do this would be the kind of person that would thrive on the distress of others. I was posting in tech forums, looking for ways to track this person, contacting Facebook. I needed to keep them around so I could gather evidence. Before anyone asks, yes, I had changed the password and all security info countless times. So actually, if this is happening so often to you, you should just, you can block people on Facebook, right? You should have just blocked her account or deleted her account because, like, if it's too much for him to delete it, he could have blocked her and then he wouldn't see her anymore, you know? Or see the messages pop up. 16th of April, I received this. This seems like a word salad, like all other conversations so far. It's recycled from previous messages she's sent. Okay. So she said, we should make our own jam. JFC, Samantha. Nah, different. No chance of passing. No chance of passing. How many? Garage side door. Side. I. No chance of passing. No chance of passing as in no chance of passing away? Is that what that means? But it definitely sounds like a bot or something that's just sending jumbled up words that make no sense. Okay. April 29th. I hadn't discovered any leads. Facebook had told me the locations of her page, the locations her page had been accessed from. But since her death, they're all places I can account for. My home, my work, her mom's house, etc. My response here wasn't bait. Yo, ask Nathan was an inside joke, too lame worth mentioning. No, yo, ask Nathan was an in-joke, too lame worth mentioning. But seeing her say it again just absolutely effing crippled me. My reaction in real life was much less prettier. I'm not expecting my bond back. Her last few messages had started to scare me, but I wouldn't admit to it at any point. Let's see. April 29th. Baked beans on toast. I don't know. I just said, yo, ask Nathan. Nathan, Nathan, Nathan. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how you're still doing this. Please stop. Please stop. I don't know what's happening. Nathan, I don't know what's happening. Oh, creepy, creepy, creepy. Okay. 8th of May. I don't really have the words for this. I. -12, -15. My jumper's in the dryer and it's really cold out. Really cold. 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 Nathan, please stop. Cold. Freezing. I don't know what's happening. Freezing is the first original word she's made. This has given me nightmares that have only started to kick in recently. I keep dreaming that she's in an ice-cold car, frozen blue and gray, and I'm standing outside in the warmth, screaming at her to open the door. She doesn't even realize I'm there. Sometimes her legs are outside with me. Oh, ooh. 24th of May. I'm really drunk. I miss you. Whoever's on this account, I don't give an F. I keep coming home from work and expecting to see you at the computer. Shouldn't I be used to that by now? Just let me walk? Us let me walk? What does that mean? I wasn't actually drunk. She wasn't an affectionate girl, and it always embarrassed her to exchange I love yous, cuddle, talk about how much we meant to each other. She was more comfortable with it when I was boozed up. I got fake drunk a lot. Her reply is what prompted me to finally memorialize her page, thinking it might help curb this behavior. Yeah. It might seem innocuous compared to her previous message. It's pasted from an old conversation where I was trying to convince her to let me drive her home from a friend's. In the collision, the dashboard had crushed her. She was severed in a diagonal line from her right hip to midway down her left thigh. One of her legs was found tucked under the back seat. Oh my god, that's such a gruesome image. Okay, going back in time, 7th of August 2012. Okay, so 2012, is she not... Okay, she's not dead yet. Okay, is this the day that she died? Hey, are you on your way home? Emily. When you see this message, please ring me straight away. I rang blank and they said you left at 4. I'm starting to panic. I feel sick to my stomach. Please ring me. Emily, answer your phone. This was the day of the accident, August 7th, 2012. Okay, these are logs from the day she died. She was completely home. She was usually home from work by 4:30. This, alongside a couple of voicemail messages, is the last time I talked to her under the assumption that she was alive. You'll see why I'm showing you these soon.
If you're a content creator of any kind,
okay.
You need to start using Lotus for your videos. I'm Ryan, filmmaker, host,
sorry,
and creator.
Another ad. Yesterday, 1st of July, 2014. Okay. Waiting for it to load. Waiting for it to load. Picture taking some time. Oh! Okay, it says, hey, are you on your way home? Oh, this is, okay, so this is Emily. Hey, are you on your way home? Emily, when you see this message, please ring me. Straight away. Please stop. I rang. And they said you left at 5. I'm starting to panic. Please stop. Cold. Emily, answer your phone. I don't know what's happening. Cold. Freezing. So after he memorialized her page, he got these messages? I memorialized her page a couple of days after I received this message. The message about walking. Okay. Until today, she'd been quiet. She wasn't even tagging herself in my photos. I don't know what to do anymore. Do I kill her memorial page? What if it is her? I want to puke. I don't know what's happening. I just heard a Facebook alert. I'm too afraid to swap windows and check it. That's it? It just ends abruptly like that? Huh. Well, I think that if it's gonna bother you so much, you should really block the Facebook account and just get rid of, your access to it. Don't let it, if her mom wants to have it, she can have the account. Again, you said that her mom doesn't know how to use social media, so she probably wouldn't need it. But, yeah, get rid of the password. You don't need to sign into it anymore. And, block it, If it's really bothering you, then delete it, because you're gonna keep crazy every time you get notifications from this account. And I'm pretty sure that it's definitely a really mean, insidious prank by a hacker or something who sees your grief, who sees OP's grief, and decides to just go and, mess around with his mind. And, that's a really terrible thing to do. So, yeah, I would recommend either blocking the account or deleting the account for good. Yeah, and then you just have to move on with your life, because what can you do at this point? Don't let something online on social media affect your mental health and mental well-being in real life. Social media can really do that to you. There's always talks about how dangerous social media can be. I know recently there was a thing about Instagram and how I think, the way people perceive or the way people portray themselves on Instagram, is negatively affects their self-esteem and stuff like that, because they only want to show you the good and happy bits, but there's actually a lot more to it deeper down. So yeah, just also in general, I think you should just go off social media for a while in general. Get off Facebook. Don't use Facebook. Hey, if you want, after you take a break from Facebook, make a new account, a fresh new account. You can add back your old friends and family, and have just a fresh new start, Okay, let's see what people have said about it. Good thing I read this in the middle of the effing day. I'm gonna go do my taxes or something. I think I got the answer here. This is a lifesaver. I don't want to click that. I don't know what that is. Taxes in July? I hope you don't take this the wrong way, as your ordeal seems truly terrible. I would ask someone else to change the password and see what happens. From a logical standpoint, it makes far more sense that you are actually doing these things to yourself, than your departed loved ones from the grave. The messages are using your words and your thoughts. Have someone you trust change it and not tell you the password. I hope your situation improves. That's another option. Hand over the password to someone else who wants to take over the account, and don't ask them for the login. That way you have no control over it anymore. This is more terrifying than the whole story. This is an excellent idea. Ask her mother to change the password information and not to give it to you for a predetermined period of time. If you receive no contact during that trial, then suddenly it shows up again upon you finding out the password, then it's likely you that is behind it. It's likely you that's behind all of it. The only thing keeping me from saying this is the most definite conclusion is this picture he uploaded, but then got taken down somehow. You can find it a little bit lower in the comments. You'll find another picture in that same thread that compares OP's Facebook pic to the guy in the chair, and it can be safely said that it's the same dude. How could he take a picture of himself like that and then send it to himself? Unless this is just some world-class karma whoring, I don't think it's OP. Okay. Everyone keeps saying that have someone else change the password. If someone changed the password on an account that I own, and make no mistake, he does own that account now, I would have no issue with pressing forgot password and resetting it quite easily myself. I don't think it would be much of a roadblock. Okay, that's true, but then, well, the thing's that after he had someone else change the password, they changed the email that it's associated with. That way he can't go back and hit forgot password later. Anyway, yeah, I hope OP's doing okay, whether the story is real or not. Please get off social media and Facebook for a while. I mean, this has been 7 years ago, so I hope OP is doing better now. Okay, let's do one more story about girlfriends. This one is, it's giving me similar vibes to the first one about whistling. This one is about sleep talking, so let's see what's it about. Okay, my girlfriend talks in her sleep. She's been saying the most horrible things recently. Sleep talking can be kind of scary. Okay, I'm infatuated with her. Utterly infatuated. And it wasn't at a healthy level. Far from it. I would think about her every moment she was away. I would sometimes sit on my couch and just stare at my phone, waiting for her to text. I'd tell myself, don't contact her, don't. It will come off as too strong. But then I'd still find myself clicking her name on my contact list before my inner voice would continue. You don't want her to know how desperately smitten you are with her. It's unattractive. It will scare her off. No, you must wait for her to call you this time. Okay, I don't know if this is supposed to be normal, but it definitely doesn't sound healthy, very obsessive. If she's the only thing on your mind and you can't really focus or do anything else, then that's definitely not healthy or good for you. Sounds like you have some attachment issues, okay. But it was excruciating and exhausting, almost unbearable. I once heard that the ancient Greeks believed that falling madly and irrationally in love with someone was a curse that you would wish upon your enemies. Okay. I could never understand what they meant. After all, isn't falling head over heels in love the ultimate goal nowadays? Maybe in movies, but not in real life. But now that it's happened to me, I have to say, the ancient Greeks were right. This is a curse. I was barely in control of myself, almost as though my infatuation with her had possessed me. Are you? Wait. He's setting the story up as if it's her fault. Like she cast a spell on him that has possessed him to like her this much? Okay, shirking the blame, okay. The two of us were sexually active together, but still in the dating phase. We were at that make or break era of a blossoming relationship where we'd either have the talk and formally be in a relationship, or we'd start to slowly drift apart. The latter of which I don't think I'd be able to cope with. Honestly, I couldn't be able to. Almost everything about her captivated me. The way she held her hand over her mouth when she laughed, how she'd caress the pendant of her necklace when she was frightened, how she'd twirl her hair in her finger when she was excited. All of it. Her smell, her smile, her eyes. Yeah, I know. It probably makes you sick reading about it. I feel the same way. I was never the hopeless romantic type. But now I can't stop fantasizing about her. I think about us doing the long 3-hour hike up to that magnificent view from one of our first dates. To that first kiss, as we overlooked the lights of the city. But this time I'd get down on one knee, bring out the ring and, well, you know what would happen next. So, okay, so OP was not even, like, they weren't even in a committed relationship yet, and OP was already had thoughts about marriage. OP is really obsessive right now, and, needs to just take a step back and really reevaluate his feelings, because he admits that he feels like he's being possessed, which is not a healthy thing. So he should, take some time, maybe, if he can take time away from her, really breathe on it, and still find that he loves her, then that's okay. But if he takes a step back and realizes that he was looking at it through, like, rose-tinted lenses, and that maybe the relationship isn't as perfect as he thinks it is, then that would be a good time for him to really, reevaluate and decide if they should stay together or not. Okay. Alright, fine. I'll stop. Yes, this is a girl I'd only been casually dating for a couple of months. I shouldn't be thinking about proposing yet. I know that. I'm just barely able to control myself any longer. I feel as though I'm losing power over the decisions I make. And that brings me to why I'm here, writing this out at the moment. It started with the first real thing that troubled me about her. We'd never actually spent a night together. You guys have the sex, but you don't spend the night? Okay. No matter how late she was over, once either of us showed signs of being tired, she'd up and leave. She wouldn't leave awkwardly or in anger, just a casual kiss goodnight, a smile, and a call me soon. It was something I didn't really even notice the first few times she did it. But after almost 8 weeks of dating, which is 2 months. It was becoming strange. I'd have to ask her about it. Well, even like at 2 months, you know, are they already having the sex at 2 months? If they're not having like physical relations, then it makes sense for her to go home if she doesn't feel comfortable sleeping over, you know? It took drinking almost an entire bottle of wine before I had the courage to do it. She looked almost defeated when I asked and lowered her eyes in embarrassment. I knew this talk would come eventually, she started. She took in a deep breath with a long, drawn-out exhale. Recently, she paused again. I've started talking in my sleep. She shook her head in embarrassment. It's called soliloquy. I looked it up. So like a soliloquy, but when you're unconscious. I shrugged and laughed out loud. My demeanor seemed to say, that's it? No, Steven, listen, she said. She wasn't laughing. It's bad. It's completely out of control. It's not just random words or gibberish. No, it's horrible. I say horrible, disgusting things. She was starting to raise her voice, breathe heavy, and tear up. I approached her and held her. I told her it couldn't be that bad. I told her to spend the night. I told her she was probably exaggerating. I was wrong. That night, she stayed at my house, but she warned me of something before falling asleep. Whatever you do, don't wake me up. It makes me really scared and disoriented if that happens. And don't respond to me. Just ignore it. I nodded and agreed. If it becomes too much, she continued, just leave the room and sleep on the couch. I won't mind. I told her not to worry about it. I told her that it wouldn't be a big deal. I told her I wouldn't leave to the couch. I'd stay beside her in the bed. But I was wrong. I couldn't even last one night. We both fell asleep without incident. I don't know how many hours passed, but I woke up in the dark with the sensation that someone was watching me. And then I remembered. She was with me. She was actually spending the night. I smiled. But then I noticed the shadowy outline of her sitting up in bed. She was looking down at me, staring. Oh, I got the chills. This is not just her sleep talking. She's up and alert. It creeped me out. I'll admit it. Her posture was entirely different. It was as though it wasn't even her at all. Then she spoke. It wasn't her voice that I heard. It was much lower and gravelly, like something out of a horror movie. I'll chew the skin from your bones, she said. I froze. At first, I just kept looking at her. This was not at all what I expected. I thought it would be more like the way Tourette's is often portrayed, like random swearing and shouting. I honestly thought to myself, what will I do if she attacks me right now? What if she really does try to chew the skin from my bones? But then she just lied down and went back to sleep. I was creeped out. I tried to lie back down and ignore her, but struggled. I couldn't even close my eyes without thinking, maybe she'd sit up again and staring at me. And then, one time I rolled over to look at her, and she was. Oh, EBJBs, EBJBs! Her face was pressed right towards mine. Her breath was foul and rotted. Something that was most certainly not normal for her. She spoke again, in the same voice as before. If you don't move to the couch, you'll be dead by morning. That did it for me. I sat up in a moment and headed for the living room. She made some sort of wheezing sound as I left. I think it was supposed to be laughter. I was lying on... You should also lock her in, by the way. Do you have bedroom keys that you can lock the door? I think you should lock her in for your own safety. Uh-huh. Okay. I was lying on the couch, but I wasn't going to be able to fall back to sleep. I was far too shaken. I was staring out towards the window, hoping to see the first few hints of the sun rising. And then I thought I heard something from the bedroom. I listened, and then I heard it again. Steven! It was that same low and gravelly voice. It sounded like a witch. I tried to just ignore it at first, but then it continued. Steven. Still, I said nothing. I know you can hear me, Steven. You're awake now. Why don't you come back into the bedroom? The voice barely sounded human. Or maybe you'd prefer if I come to you. No! Oh my god, did he lock the bedroom door? Please don't leave the bedroom. I still didn't say anything. I was told not to. But I listened. If I heard her start walking towards the bedroom door, I'm not even joking, I would have run right out of the apartment. But she had asked me not to respond to her sleep talking, so I didn't. And then I heard her once more. Sorry if this spoils your plans, she began laughing. The two of you were supposed to walk that trail again. She started. I wasn't even remotely prepared for what she'd say next. You'd both be so tired when you reached the top. You'd look over the city. Then you'll get on one knee and bring out the ring. She began laughing. Oh, she knew what was in his head. And that's when I realized this wasn't just a problem with sleep talking. It was something much more. Something supernatural. I had never told anybody about my proposal fantasy. There was simply no way she could have known about any of it. This was no longer about merely talking in one's sleep. This was about possession. I can't go back into the bedroom. I have no idea what would happen if I did. Instead, I'm going to wait it out, holding up in my living room until the sun rises. I have a couple more hours yet. I can hear her laughing occasionally in the bedroom. It's still not her voice. Still that same low-pitched cackle. But as I sit on my couch writing this out, here's what scares me the most. Maybe my infatuation and utter obsession with her wasn't normal. I said before that I felt like I was losing control of myself. More so, I believe, than the typical falling in love story. No. I feared that the infatuation I felt was the entity slowly taking control over me. Of it controlling my thoughts, fears, ambitions, and anxieties. Maybe once I become completely absorbed, a transfer would occur, and she would be free of it. I know I should leave. That I should open the front door, get in my car, and drive away from here. But I can't. I can't leave her. I've already lost control. I'm infatuated with her. Utterly infatuated. End of the story. Okay. This, I'm gonna say it right now, this one creeped me out the most of the three. This one scared me the most. Possession stories tend to be really, really scary. And it takes place at night, you know, when he's really vulnerable. Okay. So, at first, before he told the story, and when he was in the beginning setting up the scene, I thought he was over-exaggerating, saying that he was infatuated with her, that he thinks a spell was put on him, because I'm like, okay, this is a you problem, and, you know, you're trying to shirk the blame on her, right? Then I hear him talking about his experience with her, doing the demonic, exorcist voice in the bedroom, and everything. And okay, so there's two ways we can go about it. One, she is obsessed. No, she's not obsessed. She is possessed by something, and she did cast a spell on him because she knew what was in his mind, and he feels such an utter pull towards her. Number two, the infatuation is on his own end, and he himself is just obsessed with her, and he's trying to blame the infatuation on her so that he won't take the blame for himself, and that he won't come to terms with the fact that he is actually obsessed with her, and that maybe she is actually faking it. Maybe the possession is a joke. Maybe she purposely, maybe she's trying to break up with OP, and that's why she, you know, set up the scene. She told him, I sleep talk, and then she went, and even though he let her stay over, she went farther, did the creepy, like, gravelly, demonic voice, and the staring at him while he's sleeping, you know, hovering over him. If it's not real, if she's not really possessed, then she could potentially be doing this on purpose in order to get out of their relationship. Maybe she's just not that into him, and she doesn't like that he's obsessed with her, so she's trying to make him less obsessed with her. Oh wait, and then option 3, or idea number 3, could be that she has very vivid nightmares. Like, you know how sometimes there are people who sleepwalk, and sometimes they actually get up out of their bed and, like, unlock doors or pick up things, throw things, and stuff like that. Maybe she has a really bad case of, like, maybe, like, her dreams are really scary, and it kind of, like, takes over her physical body while she's asleep, so that, it's kind of like a mixture of sleepwalking and sleep talking, because she sat up, and then she, like, muttered some stuff. So it could be any of those options. Do I think she's possessed? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I hope she's not, because I don't want to think that possessions are more common than we would like to think. I I think it might be number 2, that she's lying. She's kind of like acting and staging it so that she can break up with him, because she doesn't like that he's obsessed with her. Yeah. But that's the best case. Well, then also that's gaslighting too, right? Because she's trying to trick him into, I don't know. Either way, I don't think this relationship is gonna last much longer, because I don't think he can put up with this every night. You know what I mean? Anyway, and you know, today, in this post, you know, she didn't come out of the bedroom, but he didn't mention locking the door. So what about in the future? She might even get up and attack him, you know, at night, leave the bedroom. And also, they'll never be able to share a bed together if she's constantly doing this every night. So it's not gonna work out. Either way, it's a losing game for them. Okay, let's see what people have to say about this creepy story. You should have talked back in a creepier voice. I will cook you alive and use your bones for my soup. Yeah, you gotta fight fire with fire. You gotta do an even creepier voice and say it back to her. No, you. But she said not to respond. On second thought, OP should do it because I want to know what happens if you do. Oh, so yeah. In the post, he didn't respond to any of the words that her sleep talking said to him, right? What would happen if he responded? Would he have been like fully under her spell? These two do some really weird foreplay. Yeah, imagine that this is just some of their, like, this is one of their kinks or something, so like, and they're just kind of sharing it with the internet or whatever. Like they're really into like exorcism, demonic roleplay or something. Read that in a Shrek voice, unfortunately. Nah, man, go over to her, grab her firmly, and headbutt that right at her. I'm effing crying with laughter in bed at this. Just woke my girlfriend up. I'm effing gone. Okay. Damn, that's creepy. So glad the only weird thing my husband's ever said in his sleep was F you, Batman. You owe me 20 bucks. I wish you luck, OP. That's so awesome. F you, Batman. You owe me 20 bucks. That's a keeper right there. The weirdest thing that has ever happened with my significant other was that he woke up shortly after going to sleep, rolled over and said, promise you won't laugh. And I was like, sure, I won't. What is it? And he said, sometimes I have dreams about raptors. And it was late at night and he just lost it. And I just lost it. He doesn't even remember anything about it. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I think to counteract the creepiness of this story, people should just share their funny sleep talking moments and experiences. That would be really good. One time when my brother was in the hospital, me and my dad spent the night. He was the first to fall asleep, and a few hours after that, he started shouting turkey, drumsticks, and popcorn repeatedly. Oh my god. Me and my brother had a field day with him the next morning. I hope they recorded that, because I don't think the dad's gonna believe them. They should definitely record it for posterity and show him, yo, Dad, you really want drumsticks, huh? Effing Batman probably tells your husband he can't carry the bat wallet when he's in the suit. Okay. I used to share a room with my younger brother who would occasionally talk in his sleep. Usually nothing major, just a few mumbles, but every so often he would shout in his sleep. One time, I was awakened in the wee hours of the morning to a very loud, "No, Harry Potter, don't shoot!" Since I was still mostly asleep and a little freaked out, I woke him up and asked him what he was dreaming about. Once he realized where he was, he started laughing. Turns out he was playing basketball against Harry Potter, and Harry was about to make the game-ending shot. Oh, this is gold. Oh, this is... I love the responses here of people sharing their sleep-talking encounters. These are hilarious. Okay, last one. The two weirdest things my significant other has done in her sleep was throw a temper tantrum after throwing a pillow across the room. She was upset about the pillow, and I had to go get it for her. And the other time I put my knee up and she turned, pointed at my knee and said, "Are you sure you're going to trust me with that?" What does that mean? Are you going to trust me with that? I asked what, and she said something about bleeding prom soap, and after asking what a couple more times, trying to understand, she got really upset and aggressively turned her back to me. Wild. Okay, that's a little less funny. It's a little more creepy, but definitely not as creepy as possession, you know? Okay. Yeah, oh, this one's bad. My wife sometimes does stuff in her sleep, or as she wakes up in an adrenaline-fueled panic, which sometimes happens. The worst was when she shot up, shouted, "What the F are you doing here?" and then jumped on top of me and started to strangle me. She came to her senses almost immediately, but it was certainly bracing. It was only 3 a.m., but I just got up for work after that. No going back to sleep for me. I hope this poster and his wife had a talk when he got home from work, because that's not safe for him to sleep in the same bed anymore if she's gonna resort to strangulation during her sleep talking episodes. That's really scary. Okay, so anyway, that's it. Again, what did you guys think of these 3 stories that I found? All girlfriend edition for Spooky Month, because girlfriends can be scary. Boyfriends can also be really scary. People in relationships, I can't speak. People in relationships are scary. Moral of the story? It's better to be alone. Don't be in a relationship. You can only trust yourself. The end. Okay, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed part 2, No Sleep Reddit review. Thanks again for spending time with me during Spooky Month, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!